we are doing something fun. We are making bread. I'm somewhat cleaning this counter off first. So this recipe I'm going to be using, I found on Red Note. That's where I find 95% of my recipes now because it's kind of cool. So, washing off set counter because I had a bunch of flour on it. Maybe we try something a little different. We haven't done a baking video in a long time. Let's just put it like that. Put a dark in here. Not to put. Someone get it better. Um. So, do I know what I need? No. But I think I need that honey supplement covered. So, open my phone. Put my Red Note. Okay. Oh, I like the other things you're saying. That's okay. Save them. So,
How much does it
yeah, I don't care about cost of
bread?
bread.
But this is so cheap. Easy to make. I do it at least once. 2 cups of warm water and 1/4 cup of honey.
Okay, do just what I'm using.
Give that a stir and 2 and 1/4 teaspoons of dry active yeast. I just
I don't have a container. I have these. So, one of them. I have scissors. This is stuff I know. Or at least I think I need. Measuring cups, obviously. Half cup. Sieve to sift the flour. We're gonna try this two ways. One with this is all-purpose flour, unbleached stuff. And then this other one is also all-purpose unbleached, but this is wheat. So we're gonna put that on that side. We're gonna start with the white one. Because my dad and my sister, one of my sisters, can't have wheat. So this one's gonna be for them. I do not think we have a thermometer. It's gonna work. I thought we had one, but clearly not. I hope we do. Yeah, no. We do not.
give that a stir and then I cover it with a towel. Let it take a nap for about 10 minutes. 4.5 cups of all-purpose flour. And you can use whatever flour you want. I think the most important thing though is see how I am dumping that into the cup and then spin it. That will keep from having way too much flour into a cup and making your bread too dense. I did that 1 teaspoon of salt. Our yeast has gluten, so we're good.
Salt. I have this. It's sea salt, but like I like this stuff. Could add flavoring to it.
Add 2 tablespoons of
You don't
melted
have
butter, and then we're going to add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients. If you don't have a stand mixer, you're going to mix for about 8 to 10 minutes. We started this recipe with 4.5 cups flour, but
Oh,
I
I
have
don't
1
have
cup
a
on
bread
reserve.
hook.
See how sticky this dough is with only 4.5 cups. So I'm going to start adding a fourth a cup at a time. Right about a fourth cup, and I let it mix. You see it's still sticking to the sides of the bowl. So I add another fourth a cup and let it mix again. You see it's still sticking to the bottom of the bowl. So I add another fourth a cup and I wait again. And here, look at this. That's the dough that I want. It's not sticking to anything. So this particular loaf of bread took about 3/4 a cup extra flour, but that's going to depend. Every time maybe a little bit different. Now I'm going to take that dough and I'm going to put it back in the same bowl. I'm not about 3 more dishes. Just boil it up a little bit, cover it with saran wrap, and put it in the oven with the oven light on, just to kind of keep it warm for about 2 hours. Again, that will depend on how warm your house is. After it's doubled in size, I'm going to punch it down and put it on the countertop. Enjoy the sound. And I just spread that out to the width of my baking dish, which is about 12 inches, and then I roll that up on itself and put it in a greased baking dish. Remember, this is bread, not green serving. It does not have to be perfect. I cover this with the same piece of saran wrap, and I go back into the oven with the oven light on for about 30 minutes until the dough rises for it a second time. Again, this time maybe a little bit different depending on the temperature of your house. After 30 minutes, it should look like this, and then we're going to go ahead and preheat our oven to 350 degrees. We're going to bake for 30 to 33 minutes at 350 degrees, and as soon as it's done, it will have a nice golden brown top like this, and you'll want to quickly take that out of the pan. I have it raised up here on a couple of bowls and a wire rack just to let it cool completely for a couple of hours before I begin to slice. So how much is your bread, and how many ingredients are in it? Because we only used about 4 ingredients.
Ingredients are in the car.
But I would save this video.
Stop.
Just give it a try.
Pause. Shut up. Okay. Okay. Bread, butter, flour, and water. Honey. Okay. Oh, there's the measuring cup. Okay. Found it. Okay. Everything's gonna be about the same. You know, bowl for each of them. I'm only going to use a packet for each one. If that's wrong, fine. But it should be fine. Fine, except that it's in the microwave. Close enough and good enough. Two cups more. Of course, this doesn't have any measurings on it now. I don't know. One second. I do this with measuring cups. It involves math. About 4 of these half cups, which doesn't make sense in my brain because this has more milliliters and that's what it means. It's gonna have to work even though dry measurements and liquid measurements technically one of them's off, but it doesn't actually matter. That says 473 milliliters. Two of these is 240, so it'd be 480. Yes, it's a bottle of water. I don't even know. Oh, one of them. I like to say 120 to the brim or right underneath it. No, I wasn't counting. Oh, 50 cups, but it is. That stuff is still cold. Okay. 4 cup of honey. Does have to be in.
For you is for me. And start really getting that flow through. Rather than thinking through this, a little bit of practice, a little bit of patience, brush the breath. How much of a loaf of bread cost you? I'm just curious. Not really too much to buy, but it's so cheap and easy to make to do it at least once a week. 2 cups of warm water and 1/4 cup of honey. Give that a stir, and 2 1/4 teaspoons.
That's in. I don't know if it would be first. And then pour the water on top of it. I probably could. But I'm gonna try to follow this recipe to a T, even though I can't really. I'll make sure we throw it. I'm calling it. That's gonna be a lot of honey. Dang it. It's gonna have to be good. Okay, how slow it is. really care if I measure it the same, mix with the same spoon for this because this is just these. Okay, so after this, where nothing can really touch one another, she said mix and set to the side. Okay. So these go, I'm going to put them over here. Not that you can see that. And where that goes, not that you can see anything. Look at this. Wonderful bowls. So we're going to start with white flour. She said 4.5 cups. No? I do want to see something. I would go through faster. Don't know why I thought that. Half one I needed.
Of dry active yeast. I just give that a stir and then I cover it with a towel, let it take a nap for about 10 minutes. 4.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and you can use whatever flour you want. I think the most important thing though is see how I am dumping that into the cup and then sifting it. That will keep you from packing way too much flour into a cup and making your bread too dense. Add to that 1 teaspoon of salt. Our yeast has bloomed, so we're going to add.
That means butter. But for this, close enough. It's kind of cool. Okay. Here. I don't want this to be messy. So took another half cup measurement. And I have the unopened wheat flour. Don't look like wheat flour. You say you are. Yeah, just barley. Oh. Either way. See, this one's not made with barley. I was expecting it to be that dark brown color. I'm a little more careful with the sift on this one. And yeah, I'm using the gray one for the white one. I'm still going to continue to call this one wheat. So while we wait for those to finish blooming, I'm going to grab butter. How much did you take? Do I know how long these have left? Absolutely not. Am I going to try my damn best? Yeah. So that should work just fine. No difference. So actually it's darker. Yeah, white. The barley one. Sorry, guys. It's a little factor. It's going behind you, right? Oh, beside you. Put that into. Put it into your extension. Okay.
And then we're going to add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients. If you don't have a stand mixer, you're going to mix for about 8 to 10 minutes.
Might actually just have to go in with my hands. Probably going to. My hands are clean. Yeah. Mm. It is actually quite sticky still. Should be able to close that up. Actually, I don't think I need any more flour. She said till it's not sticking, right?
Hey, I just saw your email.
No.
We started this recipe with 4.5 cups flour, but I have 1 cup in reserve. See how sticky this dough is with only 4.5 cups. So I'm going to start adding a fourth a cup at a time. So I add about a fourth a cup and I let it mix and see it's still sticking to the sides of the bowl. So I add another fourth a cup and let it mix again and see it's still sticking to the bottom of the bowl. So I add another fourth a cup and I wait again and here, look at this. That's the dough that I want. It's not sticking to anything. So this particular loaf of bread took about 3/4 a cup extra flour, but that's going to depend. Every time it may be a little bit different. Now I'm I'm gonna take that dough and I'm gonna put it back in the same bowl. I'm not about to dirty more dishes. I just oiled that up a little bit, cover it with saran wrap, and I put it in the oven with the oven light on, just to kind of keep it warm for about 2 hours. Again, that will depend on how warm your house is. After it's doubled in size, I'm gonna punch it down and put it on the countertop. Enjoy the sound. And I just spread that out to the width of my baking dish, which is about 12 inches, and then I roll that up on itself, and I put it in a greased baking dish. Remember, this is bread, not brain surgery. It does not have to be perfect. I cover this with the same piece of saran wrap, and I go back into the oven with the oven light on for about 30 minutes until the dough rises for a steam. Again, this time may be a little bit different depending on the temperature of your house. After 30 minutes, it should look like this. And then we're going to go ahead and preheat our oven to 350 degrees.
That probably gonna take a while. And I'm probably gonna. I don't know if you can. But I'm writing on the top. Turn the oven light off. And because the wheat one doesn't have to worry about being contaminated. I'm not contaminated. Going with my hands like I did last time. I did this one the same exact way, but it's not as sticky as the other one. I mean, it is sticky. But it's not horrible. Also, the person on Red Note that this recipe came from, her name is Sarah Thrush. I'll show you in a second. too. Wash it. That white one is kind of rosy. That's what her name is. That's the recipe I followed. Oh. I could also do this in the fridge. I'm gonna go to bed after I clean up this counter, obviously. So I'm gonna put them in the fridge overnight. I'll try to cook them in the morning. But yeah. There we go. It's clean. Carrot. Not cooking carrot. So yeah. Oh, see you guys later.